Hello everyone, dear friends. I am very glad to see you on my channel. Exactly, today I will show you one of my favorites. Techniques of painting my paintings. This is the splattering technique. Accordingly, we move on, making the first layer right away. Now we start with the base, that is accordingly. We will be making our greenery. Therefore, I take a lighter tone from above, I take yellow, such a beautiful lemon color, and start to paint. I do not try to paint over. Why? Because next I will be spraying. We take our spray bottle and spray. We spray in order for drips to appear. I continue to apply color on the wet surface. Now it spreads more visibly. And in this spirit, we just continue to paint everything over. We paint over well. We paint over our sides. And enjoy, of course, the process. Because the most important thing is to enjoy the process. Now I am using the same more saturated yellow color in order to make this grassy transition. Put a little bit and immediately splash out, to create this dripping effect. I apply. I do this very chaotically. What such a coloring technique gives? Firstly, still such a very interesting, very picturesque result. Moreover, it paints very well those parts, which we cannot reach with a brush. Therefore, now we take green color, adding a little bit of green, as if making inclusions. And we will continue to spray further. You may notice that in some places I am painting over empty areas a little bit. That is how it should be done, and preferably if you want a more saturated color of the painting, after all, do it in several layers. One layer will not be enough, especially over putty, because putty itself has a white color. It mixes with the paint, and this still gives slightly more pastel shades. We do not forget to constantly spray, in order to get a beautiful effect for us. And still, pay attention that I do not worry too much about painting over, because I will be covering it additionally, already directly with the splashing itself. Therefore, see what happens next. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because if you want to see new techniques, new life hacks, then you, of course, need to come to me. Be sure to write in the comments whether you liked this work or not. And of course, watch until the end, because at the end, this technique will surprise you. You can observe that I am gradually moving to more dark and saturated shades. That is, now I've already taken such a good light green, such a really grassy color, and I continue to make these beautiful, such very chaotic strokes. After which all of this I will also spray out so that the paint slowly flows down. This is exactly what will give our grass a natural look. Exactly this effect will make our grass more picturesque. Now I am adding an even darker color, really saturated like that, in order to create a shadow, to show that our grass still has depth, that our field is so very active. And I spray it out. I think that you see how beautifully the underflow goes there, where it needs to go, to the very bottom, because the very bottom will be our darkest, most saturated. Added a little color, splashed a little. And now you just look how beautifully it spreads so naturally, as it should be. In some places, I touch up with paint, which has already spread. And now I can finally move on to a darker color. I start to guide it from the bottom to the top. Optionally, if you want to make the painting darker, you can turn it, and then this light will flow down. But I decided to leave it in this format. Therefore, I just continue. And here I am already really not afraid. Here I am really actively applying the paint. I am adding even more active transitions to create depth. And as usual, with the help of a water spray bottle, I mix our colors. Somewhere I add more shades, somewhere I add smudges. And in principle, this will be all. This is approximately the background we got. But if you wish, you can wait. As soon as this background dries, and add another more saturated background. The next stage, I add directly the color itself, which signals that we have a field with colors. That is, we will now give, as it were, the next stage, the next layer. These are the flowers that are far away from us. After all, we know very well that somewhere in nature this happens, that flowers grow more intensively, and in some places it happens that there is only one flower at all. We draw such intensive flowers. That is, we are showing that the field is like that, very flowery, very bright. And again, I take the colors, which have already spread a little bit, in order to give this naturalness, so as not to use exclusively some such strongly purple, strongly red, so that it would be picturesque for us. Just look, how beautifully it spreads. Yes, more everything that I was saying. Now I'm applying it precisely with a brush, as if these are such single flowers we have. They spread so beautifully. Now I am giving a completely different color, so that there would be a truly saturated, beautiful field, so that there would be as many colors as possible. Now you can pay attention that I am using a regular toothbrush. I applied the color very actively, very saturated, and I am making splatters. This gives some kind of very interesting effect, as if you have ever looked at an orchid, it also has these nice, beautiful dots. This really creates the effect of flowers. I am not saying that this is only for flowers. I am sure you can use this, and in other of my works perhaps, just in decorative ones, or in some others. But now specifically, this gives my field life. That is, it becomes truly alive. By colors, by saturation, all this is decided by you yourself, how you want it to look. I want it to be approximately like this. Plus, additionally, at the end, this can either be left, either I will cover it with another spray can. This is already the coating with the spray can. And this is the picture we got. Bye-bye. Hugging everyone.